Hello everybody, I'm back. I'm Tad, and this is Board Games, War Games, and Miniatures. Alright, so Zapotec. That's what we're going to be playing. This is by Board and Dice, and it was Fabio Lopiano is the designer of the game, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Now, I have seen a couple playthrough videos of this game. I've only found one actual, I didn't do a deep dive, but I found one actual solo playthrough that was streamed. It was very interesting. And I did see even a heavy, what's it called? Heavy Cardboard. They did a playthrough. It wasn't solo. I'll be honest, I think we're going to have fun. Now, I'm going to be playing against the AI, which in this game is called the cocojibot. I'm going to try to pronounce that properly every time. I'm probably going to fail, but what we're going to do is my normal thing. We're going to do a video with a setup, and I'm going to set it up. It's really for a two-player game with a little variation with the trade cards, and of course adding the cocojibot cards for the AI. But basically it's a two-player setup. We'll do the setup and then we'll do a playthrough, and we'll discuss the game after that. I don't think it's going to be as heavy as, I don't know, some people have kind of, I think, been portraying it that I've seen and read about. It's basically, a resource management game. It's not that long. You only play 5 turns, so you can set it right back up and play again. We'll see how long it takes. It says 60 to 75 minutes. I think that's pretty reasonable. Of course, doing a playthrough and I'm talking and stuff, it may take a little bit longer than that when I do the playthrough. But hopefully you enjoy it. We'll get to the table and start playing Zapotec. All right, here we are at the table. Now I've taken the opportunity to go ahead and just pull everything out of the box and set it up. It's, it's too boring for me to see me pull everything out of the box and just set up a board. This is the playing board. I think it's beautiful, very colorful. We'll describe things as we go. Of course, as you know, I don't do how to play videos. I do setup videos, and then I play the game and I explain kind of how the game is played as I do a playthrough. So I got everything out of the box. I guess we'll start with the board. Here's the board, of course. Then with the game, there are 4 player boards. Now, since we're playing a 2-player game or a solo game against an AI, I've got 2 player boards out. I went ahead and picked the colors. I picked this beautiful, I don't know, what is that, fuchsia, pink, purplish color for the AI. The AI in this game is called the cocojibot. I will try to pronounce that properly. Cocojibot is the AI for this game. So that's who we're playing. I also chose this beautiful blue for me. Same player boards are exactly the same. And as you can see on each player board, there are some player aids. There are some areas to put resources. We'll discuss that as we play. What is on these boards? Well, there are 9 building. They're cool, nice wooden chunky pieces. There's 9 on each board. There's also pieces of pyramids that you can build. These are Aztec pyramids, of course. There's the base. You always start with the base. Then you can go from there. If you built on top of that, there's the middle pyramid, and then you could top it off. And that's a completed pyramid. Beautiful. Now, in the solo game, I haven't seen a completed pyramid. It just hasn't happened. Of course, it could happen. You could build them, I could build them. But I haven't seen it really happen in any of my playthroughs so far. Now, there's also a palace token. Throughout the game, you will have a chance to build a palace on areas on the board. The palace is good because the palace counts as 2 buildings when you do victory points at the end of the game. Of course, we'll go through that as we play. Now, you also have a couple other discs. These are on the ritual board. They start here down at the bottom. I have a disc representing each player on the scoring track, starting at 0. And then we have a couple other ones over here that you can utilize when you do some other things. We'll show you. They're there. Next. So if we move on to the board, you're going to see that I have these trade tiles. They're called trade tiles. You can see here, hopefully, there's 1 coin, 2 coin, 3 coin. That's how much they cost if you want to purchase them. Now, there are other things you can do throughout the gameplay that can, mitigate that, maybe make some of those trade tiles cheaper. We'll discuss that as we play. But in the basic game, you have this pile. Now, they're all shuffled. Everything's pre-shuffled. I shuffled the hell out of everything. So in the normal game, you have on the top row, only costs 1 coin. You have the option of buying 3 different trade tokens. Now, in the normal game, if you're playing with live people, not against the cocojibot, whenever you buy one of these, you just go ahead and refill that empty space. In the solo game, you do not do that. These are the only 3 that are possible. Cocojibot can purchase them, we can purchase them, but there's only 3 that are ever going to be available during this game. So we'll get these out of the way. We will reveal the 2 coin trading tiles. We'll go through this iconography as we play the game, but it's pretty simple. There is actually a whole section in the rulebook that explains all the iconography if you need to reference that while you play. I will go through that, of course, as we play. All right, so we've populated that whole trade section. We no longer need any of these, so we'll move these out of the way. All right, next, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to populate the board with, they call them building tiles. So during the game, you go to these different areas. You can build your buildings, and as you build the buildings, you take these building tiles from their location. You can use them on your board to kind of create an engine for building more resources, to buy more buildings, to build more resources, to build a pyramid. So what can you do? For instance, you can build cornfields, you can build villages, and you can build temples. 1 wood, 1 stone for a cornfield, 1 wood, 1 brick for a village, 1 stone, 1 brick for a temple. And if you ever want to build your palace, it costs 1 of each. 1 wood, 1 brick, and 1 stone. Again, the benefit of building the palace is it counts as 2 houses instead of 1 for victory point purposes. All right, so let's start populating the board. But what is on the board? Well, you've got 3 regions. All right, you have the blue region, which is called Etla. You have the gold region, which is called Okatlan. And you have the green area region, which is called Mitla. I will probably be referring to them as the blue dude or blue area, the gold dude or gold area, and the green dude or the green area. What do we have in each of these three areas? In each region, they are also divided into three sections. As you see here, the brown is the plains. The gray is representative of the hills or mountains. And then the green is the forest. Three areas, or three regions, three areas. Also in those areas, you're going to notice that you can build, there's a chance of building 5 of these tiles, these scoring tiles. They're called scoring tiles, but they represent, of course, cornfields, village, and temples. Now you also can see here, I hope the glare isn't horrible with this lighting, you have a +3 and a 4 in each area. Those indicate that those areas will be utilized if you're playing 3 players or 4 players. In this game, it's just 2 of us, me and the cocojibot, so those areas are not utilized. The cool thing is on these scoring tiles, they actually put the +3, the 3+ and the 4 as well, so you know you don't need those tiles. They're in the box. I didn't even pull them out. So let's start populating the board. Very simply, I shuffle these all up, and we're still going to just grab them randomly and populate this area. The blue dude will get 3 villages. The gold dude will get 3 villages. And the green dude, who actually is a monkey and a bat, I think that is. And I don't know who this is, a god. I don't know. And 3 villages with the green dude. Now, as you can see, hopefully, is that there are 2 different resources that you can gain if you build a house on one of these areas. If you build on a village, you can then take that tile and start populating your board. We'll talk about that as we go. But you can see on all of these, they all have one thing in common, is all the villages have a gold piece on them. So if you need to, get a gold piece, you want to build a village, you want to build on a village, you may need a gold piece. Different times for different things. Also, you'll see that there's wood, stone, brick. Now, I randomize them. I guess if you wanted to, it's your game, you can do what you want. You could make sure that in each region you have one with wood, one with stone, and one with brick. I totally randomize them so they're not that way on this board. That can, cause some issues as you're playing. I like it being randomized like that. Next, we're going to put down some temples. Again, same thing. I randomize them. I'm going to go in the blue area here first and populate the temple spaces. We're going to go down here, the gold dude, and populate the 3 temple spaces there. Last but not least, the green guy, he's going to get 3 temples. Again, we're not utilizing the 3+ areas or the 4 areas. We're just going to play 2 players. So if you can see here, what is the building of a temple good for? Well, they've got priests. These are the priests. We'll go through these in a second. The little green dude is a priest. You need him to do different things, of course, throughout the game. But all the temples can possibly get you a priest if you utilize it in your engine. But they, of course, again, some have brick or stone, some have brick, some have wood on them. All right, next, last but not least, is the cornfields. Put these out here, randomly grab a couple. Populate the blue region. And of course, as you've guessed, the cornfields produce corn. That is their major resource that they can provide if you build on a cornfield. All right. Looking pretty good. The board's looking pretty much set up. Got one more thing that we have to do, and we have to worry about what's called the scoring tiles. Now, in a two-player game, you get one scoring tile per each player, plus one. So if you're playing two players, you'll have three scoring of these scoring tiles. And of course, a three-player game, you'll have four, and so on. So these are the scoring tiles. I'm going to throw them all in here and just mix them up again and randomly draw them. We'll show you. All right, so this one I grabbed a village. You can possibly use that one. I'll show you what these are good for. And what did I draw next? Oh, I drew the hill area. And last but not least, the third one is the green dude. All right, so these are used, put that aside, when you build a pyramid. You can build these pyramids in these spaces here. When you do so, you can select one of these. There's different rules for it. We'll discuss that when we play the game. But you can take one of these and put it in here. It's really for end game scoring. So at the end of the game, you can get points for how many levels of a pyramid you have, and then how many villages you have built. Same thing if you were to grab this dude. It'd be, one level is good for 1 point. So you can get 1 point for every building you have built in this green region. So that's what those are used for. Of course, we'll discuss it more as we play the game. All right, let's put this guy back. You don't get an advantage there, cocojibot. Now pretty much the board is set up. What else do we have here? Well, we have your resources. So you have your basic resources are stone, wood, and brick. And then you have special resources that are coin, corn, and priest. Now, there's 15 of each of these. I didn't put all 15 out there. With just a two-player game, I don't need that many of these resources out here. So I just grabbed a handful of each of them, and I will keep them on the side of the board right here as we play. Again, as we play, you'll see how those are utilized. Next, there is some player aids. Now, there's some nice player aids on the board. I appreciate that. They look great. They are very helpful. But you also have these player aids. There's 4 of them. Let me try to get a glare. I don't want you to see a glare here, but you have end game scoring here. It tells you how to score points at the end of the game. On the other side, you have your turn orders. So I just took 2 and I'll leave them down here. 1 flipped over to end game scoring and 1 to the turn order. We can use those as we play. Last but not least, we're going to talk about these cards. So in the 2-player game, you're playing the cocojibot. Now, the cocojibot has his own deck of cards. You normally won't be using this if you're playing against other people. The cocojibot has these cards. Now, they give you a hint. This card is going to help you run the AI, the cocojibot, and how he builds houses and how he, manages his turn. They give you a little hint here. Now, this has a picture of the plains. Now, the thing is, this hint isn't always correct. sometimes they're lying to you. But what does it say? It says plains. If you flip this over, you will see that this card has build a cornfield in the blue area in the forest. All right, this card, it was lying. It gave you a preview of plains, but there's no plains in this card. That's what you have to worry about the cocojibot. He's not always going to be honest with you. I'm going to put this back in the middle here. But this is how we run the cocojibot in his turns. Of course, we'll show you as we play. Next, we're going to use these. These are ritual cards. And what you do with these is, there's not very many of them. I'm going to shuffle them up some more here. You pull out one per each player, plus one. Very similar to the scoring tiles. So we're going to deal 3 of these. 1, 2, and 3. Now, what do these do? So it costs 1 priest, 1 coin, and then you can place one of your discs on one of these. Basically what it does is it helps you with end game scoring points. I'll read them. For instance, this card says, I don't know if you can see it, 1 victory point for each basic resource and 2 victory points for each advanced resource. So at the end of the game, if you had selected this card, you could get those additional victory points. 1 victory point for each one of the basic resources in your hand at the end of the game. 2 points for any of the advanced resources you have in your hand at the end of the game. This one here is 6 victory points for sets of 3 buildings with the same region and different terrain. So if you were to build 3 buildings, same region, all in the green region, but all 3 different terrains in that region, at the end of the game, if you've basically purchased that card, you can get 6 victory points. And if you did it in this, you'd get 12 victory points. If you did it in this region, you'd get 18 victory points. So they can add up as well. Put you back here. Oh, it's getting messy. All right, and the last one here has a question mark. It says 1, 2, or 3 victory points for each trade tile of level 1, 2, or 3. So that's a nice one. That can get you extra victory points for purchasing some of these trade tiles. All right, we're almost done. Last but not least, we have the action deck. This is the action deck. This is how we are going to manage our hand during the game. Also, where it's used to manage, it's not really part of the bot. It's part of an additional way to score points during the game. Of course, we'll explain that as we play. But these are those action cards. Let me just, I've shuffled the heck out of them. I shuffled the hell out of everything, but we can shuffle a little bit more. So in the 2-player game, you deal yourself 6 of these action cards. 3, 4, 5, 6. Since we're playing by ourselves, we can reveal them. Alright, if there's not too much glare, you can see I have a plains card. It has stone, a temple with stone, a cornfield with wood, a golden boy region with wood, another plains with a brick, and a forest with stone. Down here we have different numbers. I'll explain that as we go, but this is how you determine initiative, basically. Who's the first player to go each turn. So you start with 6 of those. You place 1 in here. and you can reveal that. This is going to help you make a determination on how you want to play your round. This card comes into play at the end of each round, the end of each turn. If you built some temples, you can get points for it. 2 points per temple in any region. So that's going to be our first turn. We'll go over that as we're playing. Next, you're going to reveal 2 more of these cards. And these are cards that we will select to replenish our hand and to repopulate this area. So there's some strategy there involved. As we play the game, we'll discuss that. So turn 1, turn 2, we need 2 more for turn 3, 2 more for turn 4, and 2 more for turn 5. So 6 more right here. We do not use the rest of these cards. You can set those aside. And there you have it. Basically, that's the setup for Zapotec. I can't wait to start playing this. Let me put these back. That's cheating, Ted. Before we play. All right. We're ready to play. So, next, we're going to sit down and begin our playthrough of Zapotec.